this shirt don't fit like it used to, and I need another notch on my belt. If you're looking for
welcome
a six-pack muscle
to Talking Sports, Dad the Bacon Show, and wait a second, there's no way. It's Brad. It's Brad. Brad has returned.
Oh hell yeah! I'm back. Let's go, everybody. It's nice to see you. It's been a while. I've taken a hiatus from Dads with Bacon for a little bit. Just dealt with some personal job-related things that I really need to get in order. But these guys were super graceful, gave me the time to do it, invited me to talk NFC North, and I'm ready to go, fellas. This has got me fired up.
Well, great to have you back, buddy. And we're, of course, always glad to talk about your Chicago Bears and how much they suck. So before we get there, though, we are going to tackle a few other topics quick. First things first. The Olympics, it's one of these things we only get to go around every couple of years. My kids have finally embraced it. We've been enjoying prime time in Paris in the evening with my kiddos, and they're finally jumping in. I guess my question to you guys first, if you had a chance to watch it all, what's caught your attention, and what do you guys like to watch?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll dive definitely. I've been watching the Olympics every night after the kids go to bed. Kind of like our little windows are here on the broadcast here. I've had the four channel Olympics going on. I've seen everything from I was watching a badminton game between Thailand and Chinese Taipei.
Nice.
I got a chance to watch some trap shooting between this guy from Great Britain set an Olympic record with 39 or 39 out of 40 on his shots. I mean, this guy was just in fuego. He couldn't miss. I mean, a handball, a water polo match between France and Japan was off the. I mean, just a back and forth game, and I mean, those dudes are beasts in the pool. Let me tell you what. The Olympics get me spiked. They just get me spiked up.
Adam, have you broken down and watched anything yet? Or are you still just?
I've seen clips. If you have not had a chance, I've got literally the medal count in front of me. USA is running away with 37 medals total. The next highest team is France with 27, China 24, and then Great Britain with 20. Look, if you have not had a chance to see that Steven guy do whatever the heck he did on the horse, does he even have bones? That was like insane, flailing all around. It was unbelievable and well done, because if it wasn't for that performance, supposedly the men's gymnastics team would have not medaled.
Ended a 16-year drought for the U.S. men's gymnastics team medaling. So glad to see the men pulling that one off.
And Simone Biles just being the greatest women's athlete of all time. Well, Olympic athlete of all time. I think it's probably her and Katie Ledecky. It's probably the two biggest names.
Yeah, ignore Ledecky. Come on, she just smoked the whole pool yesterday.
There was there was some insane stat that they had up, like top 15 or whatever times for one of whatever she swims in. All her, nobody else. It was just all Ledecky.
By proportion, she is faster in her speeds with what she's doing than the closest competition than what Usain Bolt was in the 100. I mean, it's just insane. She's an absolute freak.
Yeah.
So no, it's crazy, but yeah, it's been nuts to watch the memes coming out with of course your Massachusetts boy sitting there practically asleep, waiting his turn through all 6 rotations. The last one to go up to clinch the medal for him. Again, you gotta love the drama. It's just you get all these things. I love all of the stories too, with countries with their first ever medals and events. The Italian women, their first ever team medal in women's gymnastics, artistic gymnastics, with the silver medal. Awesome to see them make that achievement for their country. There was the Romanian gentleman who got it's the first gold medal for them in a single swimming event. Just really, really cool things happening across the board in a lot of sports. And I just love to see it. And I think that we talked about it last week a little bit too, seeing what this really is meant to be. And that's bring people together, promoting unity. Again, I like this. This is what sports are about. This actually brings me to a small debate I'm going to lock you guys into here a little bit. And this reminded me of what college sports were supposed to be about pre-NIL, pre-transfer portal. You have a sense of pride in where you're from. Like, I still cheer for my ancestry. Italy, Germany, England, of course the U.S. first. But I look at, like, for myself, I cheer for Wisconsin because I'm from Wisconsin. I'm sure you guys are similar. If you're looking at college sports, you probably tend towards your local schools or schools you're close to or where you may have gone. So it reminded me of this, where there's a sense of pride. And I feel like a lot of that pride in where you're from has been lost, or doing things for the sense of pride has been lost in society. It's nice to see this coming out and people starting to kind of feel that and get behind that again. But I guess I want to ask you guys, do you think that sense of pride exists in people? And the reason I ask the question too is, Brad, as an educator, do you see that coming across the education system? Not really.
No, not really.
That's too bad too.
Yeah.
Well, and Ben, I would make an argument. You said how college should be pre-NIL and pre-transfer portal. I would go back, at least in basketball, and go all the way back to the one and done. When one and done started, I mean, that's kind of really, to me, what killed
amateurism.
In a lot of ways, college basketball. I mean, I used to that. I would agree with you. When you talk about, like, I've always followed UW Green Bay basketball, and I'm getting interested again since last year with Sundance Wicks and the turnaround that they had, and then now Doug Gottlieb being there. But college sports used to be like that, and I don't really know if it is that much anymore. Now I know there's a lot of schools that are talking about bringing NIL, like high school NIL in, and I know there's a lot of states that are allowing it. They just voted on it in basketball, or in Wisconsin. And I guess they voted it down, at least for this year. They're going to come back to it next year. But, I think a lot of ways that's dead, unfortunately. So,
college
I see it in the
scene
workforce
for
too.
another day.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that I think it's unfortunate, because it's to me, it was foundational in my upbringing. We did things, something to be proud of. You may not have a lot, but you always had your pride. You always had something that you could say, you know what, a job well done was still something. So anyway, that's kind of one of those things, but a lot more to go yet, a lot more fun to have. If you're not watching it yet, you're missing out. A lot of cool things going on. Skipping ahead to baseball here, guys, a lot of big moves that less moves than I thought were going to happen, but a lot of big moves that were still exciting to see. Unfortunately for me, the Dodgers made a ton of moves that I think made them a lot better. The team that surprised me a little bit was the Pirates with the moves they made. I thought made their team a lot better too. So, but I want to ask you guys, I guess, what stood out to you with the trade deadline, and which team helped themselves the most, in your opinion? Adam, why don't you go ahead and start us off on this one?
I'm pulling up all the trades. Go to somebody else.
Okay, Brad, what's up to you?
Well, I definitely think it's kind of weird to say, but the Padres are catching up with the Dodgers in the NL West. I mean, they're only 5 back, and they made some big moves. They went out and got some back end relief. They also were able to get the land that, what's his name, Carlos Estevez from LA, from the Angels. And the guy's good. He's going to be in their bullpen. He's going to be closing games. Not to mention their bats. They're finally getting healthy. They're also, rumors are Tatis is on his way back into the lineup on a little more regular basis. So I think they're a team that's getting healthy at the right time. And I think they're ready and raring to go. So I think they were definitely a big winner. Because again, when you got a closer with a 1.1 ERA, I mean, that's about as solid as you can get. I also think the Rays were a big winner at the trade deadline. They're clearly rebuilding. That's what Tampa Bay does. We know that they're basically on about a decade cycle where they will go through 2, maybe 3 lean years, gather a whole bunch of talent. Their scouting department's great. They draft well. They're going to get a lot of young talent, home grow it again, and be able to run it back for another 4 to 5 year stretch. And then they'll start, once people want big money, they'll start selling the pieces off and then start it all over again. So I think the Rays were a big winner because they got a lot of picks and a lot of talent down in the system.
So interesting about the entire event.
So TJ didn't like the move the O's made getting Eloy. I want to call us out here quick. Sorry. I disagree with you, TJ. I thought the trade for Eloy made a lot of sense for what the Orioles are doing right now. To me, the weirder trade was actually the Trevor Rogers trade, what they gave up. They sold a lot to get Trevor Rogers into that rotation. But I get it. They needed the extra piece right now, and that rotation was banged up. Sorry, Adam, go ahead. You were saying something.
Look, Rogers isn't a gas can. He's not. He's got talent. Can the Orioles do something with that talent? Look, the sexiest move was Flaherty going to the Dodgers. That was the big sexy move. Eloy to the O's. An underrated one that I think is going to prove to pay dividends is the Cubs trading for Paredes from the Rays. I think that's an underrated one. Is he electric? Is he Aaron Judge? No. But it was a great pickup for them where we've talked on this show for weeks. What are the Cubs going to do? Well, they elected to make one splash. I have no idea what the Red Sox are doing. They bring in people. I have no freaking clue who they are. We got Danny Jansen for literally nothing, but our farm system's crap to begin with. So they clearly believe that there's something there with this team. I don't. I think things will come eventually crashing down for the Sox, and they're going to need to trade and rebuild, with the exception of Devers. But Paul DeYoung traded from the White Sox to Kansas City. And I'm thinking to myself, they have Bobby. What the are they doing trading for a shortstop? They're just going to move DeYoung to third base. Is that going to work out for them? Because DeYoung's been a shortstop during his career. So I think it's interesting. But we'll see what these teams do. I think the biggest move for me was Flaherty to the Dodgers.
Okay. You know, look at the full package of it. To me, I'm seeing with Gregory Soto, Eloy Jimenez, Rogers, and Eflin going to the Orioles, the team they already have, the young base they have there already.
Eflin was a wild one.
Like, to me, that's just the Orioles have definitely pushed the chips into me in this one. They didn't. Hauser's the only one I really hated to see them give up on here. And overall, Norby hurts a little bit, but overall, they got a lot in return for not as much that I would have thought they would give up. I think they're in a really good spot. Kikuchi to the Stros is a sneaky move, by the way.
Yeah. Question: How is who you just said from the O's getting ousted? Cowser's leading off.
Sorry?
Didn't you say it stinks for Cowser for the O's because of how nice of a year he's had?
What did I say?
It was something about Cowser.
Second. Yeah, I misspoke. I'm sorry. I have the wrong name in my mouth.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm like, Cowser's leading off, but Eloy's not even in the lineup yet. Is he still injured? Come back to me when he's not injured.
I haven't found the trade here again. So, yeah. Austin Hayes was one of them. But in the Trevor Rogers deal, they sent – I'm bring the trade up here quick. Norby in that trade. And anyway, I'll bring that up.
So I think like on the flip side of it, like you're talking about giving up a lot. Like I think the Houston, even though the Stros got Kikuchi, like if you really look into the details of that trade, dude, they gave up a lot to get Kikuchi. They gave up their arguably one of the best prospects in the minors with his name's Will Wagner. He's an infielder. I mean, that guy can. I mean, he's like basically a forecasted future Gold Glover, in addition to an almost 300 hitter. So, I mean, that's somebody, yeah, exactly. And their first round draft pick. Exactly. So ultimately, I mean, they had to pay, but at the same time they got him. So, I mean, it seems like it seems like Houston's kind of like back into the pushing their chips all in again.
CJ's close here. It was Stowers. Stowers is what I was talking about, not Cowser. So they traded Kyle Stowers and Connor Norby in that deal for Trevor Rogers, which was pretty hefty.
I don't even know who Norby is. Hayes has talent, but he's never worked out for Baltimore to be the consistent player that they've needed.
That's not true. The last year he's a stud, man. He exploded last year for me, slowed down this year a little bit. But overall, looking at this, I feel like there's a lot that they can – the Orioles are in a good spot. To me, the Orioles have solidified themselves compared to what the Sox and Yankees did. To me, they're definitely the ones who should win that division right now.
Did the Yankees even do anything?
But all that said, yeah, Honeycutt.
I'm just saying, I didn't hear them do anything. Oh, excuse me. That was the other big piece of news here that I think we should talk about. And I want to ask you all this. The Yankees were very far in to get Flaherty, which would have made a heck of a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
They turned down Flaherty because of the medical. What do you all think about that?
I think it's a bad move.
Right.
I think that the Yankees should have pulled the trigger because they need starting pitching. It's just no ifs, ands, buts about it. Their bullpen's decent, but I mean the Yankees have been giving up an average of like almost 7 runs a game.
Remember, they gave it up for Jazz, who I'm a fan of.
Yeah,
Jazz has been like the bright spot in the Marlins.
It's crazy to think. Just a month ago, we were looking at the Yankees of having the worst league record in June, and they've barely gotten better. So they've been playing 500 ball since then. So I mean, I'm not a believer in the Yankees. I think they're going to fall out of the wild card, or if they do in fact sneak into that last spot, they're going to lose in that first game.
It'll be the Orioles versus somebody in the ALCS.
Yeah, De Los Santos and Leiter Jr. to help their bullpen out a little bit. Then Jazz.
Leiter's interesting. Leiter's not terrible.
Leiter's good.
Yeah.
Keep in mind the guys. There's still your waiver moves that can still help them out a little bit. But the Yankees definitely need pitching. There's no way around that. And but I'm fine watching the Yankees crash and burn.
I mean, listen to this about the Yankees. In the last 35 games, their ERA of their starters combined 5.95. That means that's an average.
Wow.
That means some are worse.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Not good.
Well, when I saw was the Yankees were linked to darn near everybody, but they got cold feet. It wasn't just Flaherty. They had Nestor Cortez out in trade talks. They were talking about Blake Snell. Everybody was a rumor and linked to the Yankees, but they just seemed to kind of pull out last minute on everybody.
It looks like it's going to be, World Series or bust every year with the Yankees, and it's a bust.
It looks like a bust.
Well,
gentlemen, speaking of bust, let's talk about those Chicago Bears.
Yes!
NFC North preview. So, you know, in all seriousness, I want to hit the Bears first because I think that's the team that got the headlines this offseason. Last offseason was really the Lions, right? We talked about the Lions. They had a good year as well. But this year, the Bears are kind of the darlings. And for logical reasons, right? They had the first overall pick. They got a quarterback. They brought in new wide receivers. They drafted another high wide receiver. So they got the splash, brought a new running back in. You have a lot of reasons to look at the Bears and say, hey, we should feel better. I think the Bears' biggest miss is they still have the same head coach who's not going to win anything for them. And there's still just not enough in the trenches to get it done. They're still the third best team in this division. And that's the part that is just not – there's not enough there to get over the edge. Are they closer than they were? They're better than they were. I fully agree with that assessment. My problem is that the Bears still are not tough enough in the trenches to get done when it matters. And so that's where I'm taking off the Bears.
Start us off, Bacon. No, I'll come around. I want to hear it all.
Oh,
you want to hear it all before you can.
Brad, I wanted to do good cop, bad cop is what I wanted to do.
Got it. No, I will say this. mean, the Bears, as much as I hate saying it as a Packer fan, are the most, I think, interesting story in this entire season. I mean, I know there's some people might be interested in seeing how like Aaron Rodgers comes back with the Jets, if he can bounce back or whatever. Can Jordan Love live up to the $220 million extension that he got?
That kind of millions.
But the Bears is just, I would agree with Ben in that I remember last year us talking to Combs about, the fact that their weakest spots are where their line, both their D line and their O line, at least at the beginning of the year. And I'm not sure how much they necessarily improved on their O line. I mean, Brad would know better than me about that, but I think they'll do better than the Vikings, and I think that's about it. I don't think they've gotten good enough yet where they're going to be a playoff team. I honestly believe, and I don't want to talk about this too much because it'll end up biting me in the ass, but I really do believe that Caleb Williams is going to be one of the most fantastic busts in the NFL in quite some time. I'm not convinced at all that there's Colt. Hey, Colt. I'm not convinced at all that he's got what it takes. And, again, it's the Bears. Until the Bears can prove everyone wrong, I think it's a safe bet just to kind of go with the whole, it's the Bears and they don't seem to know how to coach quarterbacks. So, I could see them again getting third. They have enough weapons. And by the way, have either of you guys or any of you guys watched at all the preseason game? You have it on, Brad?
No, I'm not. It's a preseason.
I know it's first of all,
it's all dudes that are just trying to make the, it's going to be dudes 45 through 55.
Oh, I know, but it's still football. I love it. But this is the first time I've seen, an NFL game with the new kickoff where they're doing it like the XF or the whatever United Football League or whatever it is. It's interesting. I've seen a couple guys get popped already, and I'm like, ooh, damn. But no, I guess getting back to it, they've done a good job surrounding Caleb with weapons. I'm not convinced. You could tell me all the numbers he had in college, but Pac-12 defenses sucked. I mean, I'm not that these aren't NFL defenses that he was going against. So, until they show me otherwise, I'm still going with the fact that the Bears are that organization that doesn't know what the hell to do with a good quarterback. So, Adam, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
I've teased this for the last month. Ever since we started these divisional breakdowns, I said it. Ben, to quote Batista, give me my spotlight.
No.
I can't.
Go ahead, take it.
Family friendly show. Can't use that.
There you go.
I have said this since before the draft. I have been saying it here for a month plus now. Caleb Williams forces himself to be like Mahomes. His freaking play scares me. All right? Eyes here, folks. His play scares me. Can he run and scramble? Super. Watch Patrick Mahomes and look how effortless he does. Then put a side-by-side comparison of what Caleb Williams did at USC and tell me as Bears fans that you can't be like, this may not work out. Here's the comp I have for him for fantasy football purposes. And I this is going to go over very bad, but I said I'd have hot takes. Blake Bortles. Yeah, I said it. I think Williams is going to bust. I think he forces himself to look like someone that he's not. You are not Patrick Mahomes, dude. You're not. You trust me. You're not that guy. I don't understand what all the scouts saw in this kid. He's got a freaking attitude. There was a rumor going around that his agent or whoever, somebody, he wanted an ownership stake in the team he was drafted to. You're not that good. You're not that elite. FYI, elite quarterbacks can at least make a freaking playoffs. What did you do in USC? Nothing. Congratulations, you won a Heisman. You know who else did? Tim Tebow. My guy. Tim Tebow also won an NFL playoff game. They have surrounded you with DJ Moore, brand new $100+ million 4-year extension. What's left of Keenan Allen, and arguably the most consistent wide receiver in the draft class in Roma Dunze. You still have what's left of Cole Kmet. You've got a left tackle of the future, hopefully, in Kieran Abadiji, coming out of BYU. You hope you can develop him. Ben and Aaron make very good points. Where's the coaching on this team? If Williams is going to falter in year one, people are going to snap on him like that, and they're going to be calling for a new quarterback. Williams has talent. There was no denying that. There was too many red flags in his gameplay at all. And I am going to stand on this. Could he be a great quarterback year one? Sure. He's not CJ Stroud. He's not that good. I didn't even think CJ Stroud was that good. Williams, to me, forces himself to play hero ball too much. You know what doesn't win championships? Hero ball. You know what does? Trenches and defense and good freaking decision making. You know what Patrick Mahomes did to win the Super Bowl last year with little to no talent in the wide receiver core? He made plays. He did it long plays. He did short. He did what he needed to do to execute to move the ball down the field. I'm concerned with the Bears that Caleb Williams is going to play way too much hero ball, and I have them third this year. Just wait till J.J. McCarthy takes over for the Vikings. Yeah, I said it. I've been waiting. I've been waiting for my Caleb Williams.
TJ, come on, bro. Like, get out.
I didn't say.
No,
TJ, I wasn't going that far, my guy. I wasn't going that far.
Come on.
I'm not saying the kid doesn't have talent. I just don't think he's going to work out or be the next Patrick Mahomes. So
okay,
Brad,
let's think about this historically. When you think of the Chicago Bears, when you think of good things about the Bears, what's the first thing you immediately think of?
It's been
Nick Butkus.
40 years.
Their defense.
Defense, yeah.
Their defense is traditionally, other than those super lean Mark Trestman, maybe John Fox years, those
last 40 years?
No, that their defense has been good. And even on off years, they're top half in the league. Okay. So first off, and that's where I want to put my first focus on, is that we've actually improved a lot on defense, not only with locking up Sweat, having Billings in there inside of him, Dexter, dude, a lot of people better watch out for Javon Dexter this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's their defensive line is going to get pressure. Their linebacker core, TJ Edwards, led the league in tackles. I mean, he's a tackle machine. Their safeties with Brisker, and then Byard. Okay, Byard's on he's on the end of his career, but he's a reliable.
His name correct. It's Kevin Byard.
But he's a reliable. He's a proven starter in the league. He's not the elite, but he's no scrub. So I think their defense overall has taken a step forward, which is going to allow their offense to be able to be on the field more often. Number two is that the Bears, the past 2 seasons, even going 3-13 and then 7-10, have been the top 5 in the league in rushing both years. Their offensive line can do just fine when it comes to running the ball, and they're definitely going to do that with Caleb Williams under center for a while. I mean, you're going to do that with if you're any smart coach, you're going to be running the ball with if you got Peyton Manning, you're handing the ball off. That's what he was doing. He was throwing interceptions and handing the ball off. That's what he was doing. And in all honesty, I think this is one of the coaching hires that has made 100% complete sense in a while, is to not rid of Eberflus, because he is a legitimate defensive genius. He is a great defensive coach. I mean, top notch in the league. I mean, you saw what he did for the Colts, and then he leaves the Colts. Boom. I mean, their defense went from top 5 defense to out of the top 15. So you lose Eberflus, you lose that defense. When you get Shane Waldron in the building, he is a super. He has a great reputation of developing quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, Jared Goff, Hell, who is he with? I mean, he revitalized Geno Smith. I mean, Geno Smith, guys. So you're saying to me that Caleb Williams ain't as good as Geno Smith before he went to Seattle? So I'm actually confident to where I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be a stud this year. I don't think they're going to be putting a lot on his shoulders to say you got to go out and be the man and win us this game. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they got enough. They got enough cannon fodder in the backfield between Swift, Herbert, Roschon Johnson. Their backfield is stacked. Okay, the Bears have the best running back room in the league. Okay, so I think that you guys, everybody is like so laser focused on Williams, but we've done a very good job of putting the other pieces in place in order to reduce the stress on him to where he doesn't have to do those things. When he was at USC, he had to do those things. Think of all those graduates that left his sophomore year, that when he was playing on a borderline playoff team. But last year, after losing all his players, I mean, he had nobody at wide receiver, had no running game. Their offensive line had been drafted to the NFL, so the next crew of dudes were getting trained up. I mean,
he was in Oklahoma before that, and he also had one of the best coaches in college football, in Lincoln Riley. I mean, you still have some incredible pieces going through there. I guess the part that I'm hung up on is you talk about what they were able to do with the rushing. 1,800 yards of rushing from that offense the last 2 years came from Justin Fields. Caleb Williams is not doing that. So it's going to have to come from that running back from your which I get it. Roschon Johnson's talented. I agree.
Yes, he is.
But they've got to use him. They've got to use DeAndre Swift, and they have to stay healthy. And that's not been consistently capable.
So I think that'd be a good take from a fantasy perspective, because I mean, who in that Bears backfield are you really going to think is going to get the bulk of the carries? You don't know. You know, they've got 3 dudes that can legitimately be running back number 1, because they've all been running back number 1 at some point.
They have 2. Roschon Johnson, not number 1. Not
dude.
Really.
Do you see what he did last year before he got injured? He was balling out. Oh my god!
He played a few plays. That's not legit. That's not legit.
Dude. This guy led one of the charges for Roschon Johnson.
Thank you.
I'm just saying.
He's a talented player, but he's not number 1. He's just not yet. He's not done enough to earn. I'll say he's good.
If you saw him play for a month before he blew his knee out, then you would have.
I'll say he's the best 3 in the league. He's the best RB3 in the league. I'll give you that.
I mean, that's an easy.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. But it's
honestly, I think Roschon Johnson is going to be the number 2 back over Herbert. I really do.
He should be, but Herbert's specialty is pass catching.
Yeah,
right.
Roschon's isn't.
That is
my
true.
opinion.
No, I
was the one
100%
captaining
agree.
for this guy last year. I was the one captaining for getting Roschon in fantasy, because it's like, oh, Bijan. Yeah, how about that guy Roschon that was behind him that didn't get a lot of love? Watch the film.
No, I mean, shoot, even like Colt Retzlaff on our chat is like talking about how Montgomery sucked with the Bears and is awesome with the Lions. Like, Montgomery did not suck with the Bears. Yeah, Montgomery was great.
Fine.
He was actually really good for as terrible as that offensive line was when Montgomery was with us. He was really good.
He may be going back to the one good year Jordan Howard had and then fell off.
Dude,
then you guys got Montgomery.
This is all safe for your brother. This is where I'll go to. I think Cole Kmet's one of the better tight ends in the league this year. I think his talent is still there. I think he's still. I think there's plenty left in that tank, for one thing. What I am concerned about is Keenan Allen and what he has left in the tank.
Yep.
That's a very. He's been rode hard and put away wet, if you will. And then looking at
what an analogy.
It's just reality, bud. But I mean, as far as DJ Moore, as a Packer fan, the guy that concerns me is DJ Moore. That's the guy that I'm looking at saying he's the guy who's going to beat me.
Yeah, and now he's locked into another 5 years.
Right. Something that's the guy that I need Jair covering him, which is fine. But then we got to trust somebody to cover Keenan Allen and Cole Kmet. Okay.
I love it.
And Roma Dunze.
I was going to say, you're actually missing the best wide receiver.
I'm glad you brought that up, Brad. I want to go through this real quick with you guys. I got a little exercise for you.
Uh-oh.
Is this a would you rather?
Kind of. First round wide receivers. the last 4 years. Because everyone wants to talk about Roma Dunze. Okay,
yes.
Great. All right, fellas. Let's go through this for a second. 2023, there's only 3 first-round wide receivers.
He did this intentionally.
Jackson Smith and Zigba,
Probably.
Quentin Johnson, and Jordan Addison. Jury is still out. Too soon to decide. I think all 3 have some talent. We'll give them that, but it's a very
Addison.
No, it's not. Time out. Quentin Johnston should have never been a first-round talent. I'm sorry.
That's not true. He was on a playoff TCU team. You have no. Just stop. Just stop. Anyway,
I don't care.
It's one season. It's not, the jury's still out. You can eat your words in 2 years.
He's behind DJ Shark on the depth chart.
And Chark has done something in the NFL.
Yes, and Johnson hasn't.
He has had 1 season to do it. All right, so Drake, next to Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jamison Williams, Jahan Dotson, Treylon Burks. We'll call it 50-50. We'll call it 50-50.
50-50? No.
What?
No.
Treylon Burks, no. Remember, folks, the Titans wanted Treylon Burks over A.J. Brown.
Right. Here's the deal. Jamison Williams hasn't done a darn thing. He's been hurt, suspended, whatever else. He's done nothing. Treylon Burks, bust. Jahan Dotson is good.
Yeah,
but he's
Jahan Dotson is good.
And he's behind no systems that ever worked for him with no quarterbacks.
Garrett Wilson has a chance to be elite.
Yeah.
Yep.
Drake London's been
he's good.
Bad coaching.
Yeah, underutilized. Yep. Bad coaching. Yep.
So, I mean, where I would say, I'll say between Jahan Dotson and Drake London, one of those two is going to actually have a good career. One's probably going to flake out in reality. We'll call it 50-50 right here, right now.
Sure.
Next year, so 2021, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Kadarius Toney, Rashad Bateman.
Every single one of them are great, except for Toney.
And Bateman.
Bateman hasn't done shit.
Yeah.
I'm a Bateman fan, and I'm saying this. Bateman hasn't done a darn thing.
Nope. Bad.
Now, 2020, get ready to laugh here, boys. This is where it gets painful.
What? Oh, boy.
Henry Ruggs.
Ugh.
First wide receiver taken.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy, already traded.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb was the 3rd wide receiver in this draft.
The best
here's a fun one.
in that class.
Jalen Reagor.
Who?
Good job, buddy.
Before the great wide receiver, Justin Jefferson.
And then Justin Jefferson and Brandon Ayuk. So another 50-50. The point I'm making here that I wanted to get to is the way I look at this, and you guys can disagree if you want, because that's the whole fun of opinions, right? First-round wide receivers, it really is 50-50. You don't know what you have until they get into the game. The benefit that Dunze has is he can be a 3. He doesn't have to be a 1 right away. A lot of these guys can come and be 1s right away, which is why they failed.
I agree.
So I think Dunze is in a good situation. However, where a situation is not great is Caleb Williams as quarterback, and a rookie quarterback is going to struggle at first to utilize those deeper reads that a 3rd wide receiver is going to be running. He's not that first focus. It's going to be those single reads, maybe 2 reads, and bolt for Caleb. So Rome's going to get frustrated not seeing that ball. He's not going to be a primary target. It's going to be how well does he keep together between the years, which Caleb Williams is going to prove himself there too, in my opinion. But
you want to have a little fun, Ben?
Always.
All right. So we went backwards in years. Let's go around the horn. And Aaron, we'll start with you. We're going to go Aaron, Ben, Brad, and then I'll finish up. Let's go with the wide receivers picked this year in the draft. And there are a lot. We know this is going to be a really outlier year for wide receivers. How many great ones came out? Marvin Harrison Jr. Can we all just agree elite going to smash?
Yeah.
Ben?
I won't say elite. I'll say he's.
So we'll go success. So we'll go by 2. Successful career, potential bust career is how we'll classify it.
I'll call him successful. That's fine. I'll agree to that.
Okay. Brad?
Yeah, successful.
Successful as well. All right. Malik Neighbors.
Successful.
Aaron?
I'll say successful. Think about. Yeah, I'll say successful. Yeah.
Ben?
I say bust.
Agreed. I think Neighbors has a higher ceiling than Harrison, but a way more wobbly floor.
But
I
also think that on Malik Neighbors, that's going to be a little bit based on quarterback play.
I think that's based on Neighbors. Neighbors, when I was watching his film, seemed a little shaky, but the ceiling and talent is there.
The problem is quarterback, guys.
I agree with you. Quarterback's going to be a problem this year until they get a new one next year.
Well, what I just mentioned is a lot of these guys are forced into being wide receiver 1 right away. What is Neighbors? He's already listed as wide receiver 1 for the Giants right away, and that's going to be his problem. So that's what scares me with him. I think he's set up very poorly, and it's going to be too much. I just don't think he's going to handle it.
Roma Dunze. Successful career. I think he's the second best prospect behind Harrison.
I say successful as well. Bears have actually done a decent job drafting wide receivers and acquiring wide receivers over about the past decade.
Aaron.
I'll say successful too, as much as I don't want to, but yeah.
I'm literally trying not to slam.
Brad, should go for that list, buddy.
Chase Claypool trade.
Chase
Claypool, Brad.
Well, okay. I mean, sure, but I mean, they've also acquired people like Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey and DJ Moore.
Also
I mean, again, those are legit wide receivers. Get out of my face.
And Chase Claypool, and I mean, you go.
Well, yeah, I mean, but all I got to do is Jermichael Finley, or I can say the same thing back at you.
Jermichael Finley was a very good tight end.
Tight end.
He won a Super Bowl. How about Bears receivers?
He won a Super Bowl.
Ben, Adunze.
I do believe that Adunze has a successful career, but I don't think it's in Chicago. I think he gets traded at some point and he does well somewhere else.
Fair. All right. Brian Thomas Jr., the other LSU wide receiver. I'm going to go with successful career, going to be known for being a deep threat.
Yeah, I agree. He's got the afterburners, and he's also got big play catchability. He can get up there and get the ball.
He's going to be a red zone monster. Aaron?
Yeah, I'll say successful career.
Ben?
I picked him in our preview for the division. I got to pick him here again. I think that Brian Thomas is one of the better receivers to fall in this draft where he did. Yep. The Jags, he's going to be Trevor Lawrence's savior in a lot of ways this season. I think that's going to be a big pickup for him.
Yep. Finally, one I've been waiting to talk about.
Xavier Worthy.
Xavier Worthy. Aaron. Papa Bacon. They call me Bacon. Well, they call Aaron Bacon. What are you doing with the very tiny Chiefs still trying to recreate Tyreek Hill? This is the tough one of any of the ones that were drafted.
It is a tough one because I think that having Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback is going to give you that extra help that you need. So I'll say successful career, but I could see it going either way.
Yeah. Ben?
I didn't like him coming out of school. I don't like him now. I think that his situation is favorable that could buoy that actual value. I like Sky Moore coming out more than I like him. But he has more speed. He's more refined than Sky Moore was coming out. I'm going to go with success, actually, despite my better judgment.
Brad.
I'm also kind of borderline. I mean, the thing is, the teams that know how to use people like Xavier Worthy are the Kansas City Chiefs. So, I mean, it's hard to not say successful. But the thing is, I think even though he's fast, he's undersized. And undersized does present problems if you get good linebacker play in the middle of the field.
I think one of the things that might hurt him, I mean, despite the fact that I said I thought having Mahomes will help him, the fact that, I mean, other than Travis Kelce, who do you really have in your wide receiving core?
Exactly.
It might have been better off for him to go to a team that's more stacked where he can just kind of fit in, than a team where he's going to be one of the marquee guys right away, because
their top three are Rashee Rice, Marquise Brown.
Yeah.
Well,
Xavier Worthy is their number 3.
Yeah. Well, what's Rice going to be doing? Have we heard anything lately about his legal issues?
I think it's been very oddly quiet.
I know. That's kind of what I find interesting, is because I know when all that stuff hit the fan, they were originally saying he could get like a 6-week suspension or like,
I think it's still probably I personally think it's still 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah. But doesn't this just seem kind of reminiscent of what happened with Ezekiel Elliott, where the league is going to come down, it seems like last minute before the season or during the season? The league doesn't give a damn about fantasy. They don't care about what the teams are doing. When it comes down to shit like this, they've been ridiculed too many times in the past. They're not going to get it wrong. So I'm going to go back here to Xavier Worthy. Then we're going to get back to the NFC North because there's 2 other guys here. I think he's going to have a push type of career. I don't think he's going to succeed. I don't think he's going to bust. I think he's going to succeed for the first couple of years at Mahomes. And if he doesn't stay in Kansas City, I think he tails off.
Fair.
Ricky Pearsall, and I think Ben might want to jump through the monitor for this one. I think Ben is not a fan of Pearsall. Neither am I. I think bust.
Aaron? Yeah, I'm going to tell you now. Pearsall's going to bust. I think he's he's in the right situation to develop. He was way overdrafted, in my opinion, being in the spot to the Niners.
Yes.
Kyle Shanahan if there's any coach that can make Pearsall an NFL wide receiver, it's Kyle Shanahan. The guy knows how to use unique talent and make them useful. Bill Belichick is to defenses, Kyle Shanahan is to offenses, so I'll give him that credit. But Ricky Pearsall is just not a first-round wide receiver for me at all. And so I think he should be a bust, but Shanahan's going to slap me in the face again with somebody, and it's Ricky Pearsall.
Aaron.
I'll say bust.
Brad.
Bust as well. I think it's gonna be tough. I think it's gonna be tough. There's a lot of mouths to feed in San Francisco, and I don't think he's gonna be
not
quite
after Ayuk gets traded.
Yeah.
But all right, last wide receiver who the Panthers traded up for, the Patriots wanted, and quite a few other teams wanted. Xavier, the best wide receiver, not inside the top 3 Leggett.
I'm gonna say I'm successful. He's big. And he's fast, and again, he's a deep ball threat, and that's always a commodity in the NFL.
And his accent's amazing. Aaron,
success. Yep.
Ben,
bust. I'll tell you why.
Oh boy,
quarterback play. It's still going to be a problem. Quarterback play.
Fair. Okay.
It's not his talent that will be the problem. He has nothing. Jonathan Mingo is a nice piece the year before, but he was again overdrafted a little bit, and there's just not enough for me in the Panthers offense, and just the organization is just in shambles right now. So I think he's going to be a collateral damage in what's happening in Carolina right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ben, sorry for tailing off there, but it's like we were going through the last several years, and I thought that was a pretty cool exercise to go backward. I was kind of really wanting to get your guys' opinion of these first round talents, since we were talking about a Dunzite, again, and all of our thoughts. So kind of interesting to see where we all far again before these guys even hit an official game to see what we think about them. So Ben, back to you.
Yeah. Continuing through the division, I want to hit the Vikings next. And the reason I want to hit them is looking at what we have. One thing that I know Brad can agree with Aaron and I on is screw the Vikings. And when I look at the Vikings this year, I kind of have to laugh a little bit at Viking fans, especially in our Smack Talk groups that are for the NFC North on Facebook and around these. They like to talk, but what Bear fans and Packer fans know is Viking fans won't be found by week 7. They're going to be underneath the hole that they came from, drinking from their little horn glasses, trying to figure out where the rest of the beer went, because they're going to be miserable. And the Vikings suck, guys. The Vikings are not a good team this year. They're just not. JJ McCarthy is not the reason that Michigan won the national championship. He's a good quarterback who has a chance to develop, but he's not going to do anything for this team. Sam Darnold's not going to do anything for this team. Aaron Jones is a nice addition. They've got a running back that can play right now. You still have Jordan Addison, and you still have Jefferson. Shut up, Steve. Oh, sorry. I agree with you, Steve. I'm wrong. I read that wrong. I thought you were saying skull at us. But anyway, no. Skull, good for dip, not for chance. But anyway, so the Vikings just don't have what they've had these last few years. This is the worst team in the division, and in my opinion, it's not close. Across the board, there's just not a group on this team that scares me. Harrison Smith is the best player on this team by a long shot, and it's just this is a bad Viking team. I'm looking forward to smacking them around and embarrassing them twice this year, and I think the Bears will too, frankly. Anyone else want to join the haterade for the Vikings?
God, I hate that team. I hate that organization. I hate them more than I hate any other team in pro sports or college sports. I mean, you take the list and you give it a point value and you add it up, and the amount of hate I have for the Vikings and some of their delusional fans is just okay. First of all, I saw something yesterday, and I don't know if I shared it on Facebook or not, but there's a meme out that had, I'm not really a meme, but a graphic that showed the top, I think it was like 5 or 10 teams last year in terms of receiving yards. And the Vikings were number one. And the guy that posted it was obviously a Vikings fan. And he says something about, this team was missing, it had 4 different starting quarterbacks throughout the year, which is true. But then he said, they're missing their number one wide receiver, and they still led the league, which is why they're the team to beat in the NFC North. And I'm like, dude, what the hell are you smoking? Well, what are you smoking that makes you think this team is? I mean, one of the reasons why, of course, they got off to, I think it was an 0-4 start last year, ended up winning like 5 in a row before Cousins tore his Achilles. And then the rest was downhill because they really had no quarterback. And Jefferson was injured for, I think he missed a few games last year. Maybe was it 6 or something like that. But their problem was quarterback, and they didn't really solve it. I mean, you have Sam Darnold, who's probably going to start this year to begin the year at least, and then JJ McCarthy. And I wish McCarthy luck. He seems like a nice kid and everything. But no, this team sucks. I could see the Bears winning 3 or 4 more games than the Vikings do. Not that would necessarily be impressive, but Aaron Jones, first of all, with the exception of Favre, who only had really one good year after he left the Packers and went to the Vikings. And I guess you could say, I believe it was Ryan Longwell went there. He had a few decent seasons as their kicker. Otherwise, every other team or every other player that went from the Packers to the Vikings basically sucked after that. And I don't think Aaron Jones is going to suck, but the fact that he's going to be their main guy on offense, because you can't get you need a quarterback to get Justin Jefferson the ball. So that's going to hold him back a little bit. Aaron Jones missed, 6 games last year during the regular season for the Packers. He also got injured in that Niners game, which people forget about. So everyone was thinking, the Packers could have gone on and yeah, they could have, but we don't know if they would have had Aaron Jones the next week against Detroit in the NFC Championship game had they held on, to beat the Niners. So I don't even see Aaron Jones staying healthy. I'm not wishing him to get injured. I'm just saying I can't see him staying healthy for the whole year. This team sucks. Your organization sucks. Your entire fan base can shut the hell up. And now I'll move on. Let Brad or Adam take it.
So Brad, I'm gonna let you go on. Let Adam, the impartial third party, go on this one.
I'm just waiting for my turn.
Brad, what do you
think? I think just Minnesota is going to be. They're on the decline. I think they're in the same position the Bears were in like 5 years ago. I think they're not going to be a good team. I see them going like 4-12, 4-13.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right. All right, Adam, fire away. What do you think?
You NFC North people. That's all I gotta say. The hate for JJ McCarthy's gone too far. Quite frankly, not despite NFC North folks, by a lot of people. Watch the frickin' tape. The dude looks like he was playing in the NFL for 2 to 3 years. He looks solid. You know who I said this about? Stroud. You know who was right about Stroud? Me. You know who was right about Young? Me. Stop the
You know who's wrong with
freaking
other
hate
guys?
on freaking McCarthy. The defense leaves a lot to be
Honestly,
desired.
I'm not hating on McCarthy. I don't even think he's going to start though.
Right.
He shouldn't start. McCarthy,
No.
I mean, don't get me wrong. McCarthy, given what he should start. But sit behind the veteran. It's like I keep saying for Drake May, sit behind the veteran. Look what Mahomes did. If you were to go back in time and go tell Andy, be like, hey, this kid's going to win you 3 Super Bowls in the next 7 years. Start him over Alex Smith. No, because that was the best things from Mahomes' career, was learn behind Smith. He played in Week 17, which was a throwaway game, because all the starters are resting, and he got a chance to learn. McCarthy needs to do the same thing, even though McCarthy is going to start after the bye, because Darnold is not good. They have the best wide receiver in football in Justin Jefferson, an emerging potential knucklehead, wide receiver in Jordan Addison, who needs to get his freaking head on straight. Hawkinson, look, great tight end, finally unleashed. We do not know what he's going to look like coming back from that injury. We just don't. Their offensive line needs help. Their defense needs help. I think they took a step in the right direction with the quarterback. But, man, this was a draft that was deep in talent. They didn't get a lot of it. So I do think they end up last in the division this year. I think 4-13 is a stretch. They do have one of the harder strength of schedules to start the year. I think they do win more than 4 games, but they're going to be they're definitely last in the division. But again, I do think they have the right quarterback in McCarthy, and all he needs is a shot, and he can keep at least the offense in games. It's really going to be up to that defense to keep him in games. And I wasn't the biggest Dallas Turner fan coming out of college. He was best available at their pick.
It was a good pick. It's hard to fight that one. Look,
he's just solid.
Yeah. The team that I'm going to begrudgingly praise for the most part is the Lions. Looking what they have, the Lions right now, to me, are still a team to beat in the division. They won last year. The weakness, when I'm looking at their roster, for me, the weakness is that wide receiver position. And I'll tell you why. Mentioned before, Jameson Williams hasn't done much so far. Donovan Peoples-Jones has not done what he should be able to do in this league to this point in his career.
But he's a solid. I mean, he's a solid starter. He's
a solid 4. But again, he hasn't done much. He's not a guy that I would put my faith in. If the game's on the line, I'm not throwing to him. Khalif Raymond has been a nice, again, a solid 4-ish, but he's a third wide receiver. Outside of St. Brown, Matt Laporta is the only other guy, and Jahmyr Gibbs I really want to throw to him. And that's where I'm looking to say the wide receiving group is just not doing it for me. I look at this and say that there's, again, St. Brown's great. I think he's one of the top 10 wide receivers in the league right now.
Yep.
Phenomenal talent. I can say this, and I know it's a homer thing to say. I'll take the whole Packers wide receiving core over Khalif Raymond or Donovan Peoples-Jones or Jameson Williams right now, based on what they did last year. And that's just you have the inconsistency from those players is just too much for me to not really feel comfortable with them. Again, Goff to me has made these guys better. I think Goff is a good quarterback. I think Goff has done great things for Detroit, and he has earned what he's been given there. And the Lions are going to be tough to beat. That O-line is solid. They have good pieces there, and the defense is lights out. Davenport with Hutchinson on that defense.
Yeah,
yikes.
Dude, that's disgusting.
Unbelievable.
That secondary and Terry and Arnold add to it.
Yeah.
The secondary that needed help got addressed.
And they added Rakestraw to boot. I mean, Carlton Davis, Rakestraw, Terry and Arnold, Amika Robertson, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch.
I mean, did. Oh, Branch is going to be a fun second-year player. The Lions and the Eagles did what they set out to do. They addressed their bad secondaries. They both fixed them.
the Lions are going to be tough to beat because they're going to hold you to 2 to 3 scores a game, and it's going to be tough to get the ball moved on them. So they don't have to score 30 points a game to win football games right now. So to me, the Lions, a team.
And then Dan Campbell can go up to his giant Meyer podium.
Right?
You guys see a picture circulating the internet about how giant that podium was in the press office?
I did not see it. No.
You should just.
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like I said, overall, I'm looking at this, and another guy I like on this defense who's backing me up right now, Josh Pascal is another good piece for that D line in the end. Even looking at
Pascal isn't terrible,
but Jalen Reeves-Mabe and Malcolm Rodriguez, they have guys around this defense that just, to me, they stand out as a group that it's going to be hard for us to do anything against them, for anyone to do anything against them. So, to me, the Lions games are circled because these are the tough games this year. It used to be the Bears and Vikings games. Now it's the Lions games. So the Lions are a team to beat to me. I guess, Brad, what do you think with the Lions this year?
I think they're scary good. I think that they could be in the running for a number 1 seed in the NFC. So I see him end of the season going 14-3, 13-4.
Okay. Adam?
If Jamison Williams can do anything, they're the winners coming out of the NFC. If they can get anything out of him, he was the best wide receiver prospect in that draft class. Pure wide receiver prospect. Better than Wilson, better than Olave, better than London. The problem is his injuries with him. And unfortunately for his career, that is what has derailed him. And it sucks because I feel like there are a lot of people that are rooting for him, because I'm sure he's a great guy, and you never like to see injuries happen. And the NFL, as I've heard from other people, is a "what have you done for me lately" type of league.
Yep.
He's done nothing. They have no wide receivers outside of ASB. You have, I really want to get what everyone's take is on Sam Laporta. He had a record-breaking rookie tight end season. Statistically, rookie tight ends fail. It takes a rookie tight end about 3 years to get accustomed to a team and in the NFL before they do anything, let alone for fantasy purposes, before they can really emerge. We saw it out of nowhere with Trey McBride last year. He's a concern for me. We'll get there when we get to the NFC West. What are you all doing with Sam Laporta? Because it's like everyone's thinking, oh, they got ASB and Laporta, they're fine. Is Laporta a one-year wonder? And Ben, to your point about the defense, I don't even think it's keeping him to a 2 to 3 score game. I think it's the physicality at what the defense is going to play that is not going to be talked enough more than points. It's the physicality they're going to impose. Look how this was Brian Branch was running around doing last year.
Hashtag biting kneecaps.
Biting kneecap. Hold on, let me show you.
Is that Dan Campbell press conference?
Yeah, yes, dude. Hold on. I bet I can. Let's see this tab. Yeah. Check that out. And Dan Campbell's a big dude.
Yes, he is. Holy smokes.
I mean, look how big.
Guns Mahoney.
Yeah.
What did Meyer pay for that?
Yeah, who knows? But you could fit like 2 or 3 of Dan Campbell's behind that podium.
That Penny Sewell looks small behind that. Goodness. All right. So I'm going to start with you, Brad, because I fired off on your Bears first. You can start the Packers here. Break down our Packers and let us know what you think. Fire away.
Oh, boy. Well, see, the thing is, like, I'm not going to sit here and hate on some good moves that you all made over the offseason. You with the loss of what's that offensive lineman that was injured every year?
Bakhtiari.
Yeah, after the loss of Bakhtiari, you need somebody to get in there. You picked up Jordan Morgan. I think that the weakness of the Packers lately has been, in fact, the linebacking core. I mean, you can pass underneath on them. You can gash run on them. So again, a smart move to get to get a linebacker to fill that gap, specifically with really all three teams having decent running backs that can take passes out of the backfield. So again, I think they made the right moves. I think that I think everybody's super duper high on that wide receiving core. I think that I think one of the three is going to end up somehow fizzling out. I'm not sure why.
I agree.
I honestly, I think it's going to be Dobbs and Watson that stick around, and Reed that maybe kind of sizzled or kind of falls out of the rotation. But at the same time, you got Musgrave at tight end. That's been a great addition for you guys. I mean, he's a Packer kind of player. You know, he'll block, he'll catch good passes. And heck, I mean, you got to admit the Jordan Love experiment worked. I mean, he came out and, you know, just like any other quote unquote rookie QB, because he hadn't played really,
Right.
that he struggled. I won't say struggled. He had his growing pains in the first 7-8 games of the season, but he played really well down the stretch. I'm not sure that I'm not sure if it was a super great move for locking him in for the highest like QB money in the league. Again, but that's a deal the Packers were willing to make, and if they were willing to get their man locked in, then hey, you might as well do it now because it's just going to be more expensive later.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, I think the Packers overall have improved, and after what they go last year, 10-7 last year.
9-8.
9-8.
Yeah.
You know what? In all honesty, I see them about the same, maybe one game better. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say 10-7.
Well, that's a fair assessment. Appreciate that. Yeah, we're all jump in and give us a little bit of critique. And to your point, I'm admittedly a Christian Watson denier. Like, the talent is undeniable. He has the talent, and there's something about him that when he's healthy, he's just fun to watch. We talk about one of those top three guys kind of fading out, and that's the guy that I kind of had my finger on as the one who I think is just going to kind of disappear on us. And it seems like his hamstrings cannot stay healthy for whatever reason. And I think that the availability is going to take him out because we've got a guy in Octavian Wicks playing behind him who has something special about him. It reminds me of almost a young Donald Driver, the way he plays. And it's fun to see that coming up and behind. You got a few different pieces there too. But criticizing the team, there's some unknowns for us right now on the O-line with the changes. Rasheed Walker came along last year and played well. Jordan Morgan is right now listed as kind of a back across the whole line. Sean Ryan has been a really slow project, and it's kind of his fourth year right now playing. Listed right now as our starting right guard. Zach Tom might be an all-pro right tackle, but again, we've had some availability issues across this line a few times, so we'll see what happens. Josh Myers has ups and downs for us as well. The real watch out to me, and again, I want to be optimistic, I want to be positive, but if I'm looking at this critically, it's the defense is changing to a 4-3. And a lot of times you see this transition to 3-4, 4-3. There's definitely growing pains, changing philosophies. And looking at the depth chart right now, we have three guys who are all formerly would be considered inside linebackers playing as starting linebackers. They got Quay Walker at will, Isaiah McDuffie at Sam, and Edgerrin Cooper, the rookie, playing middle linebacker. So I'm curious how that plays out. The D-line, now you've got Lucas Van Ness, Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, Kingsley Enagbari, and Brenton Cox kind of lining up there at the end. I think that's a deep group that is encouraging. Devontae Wyatt's got to step up. He's not quite lived up to the first-round draft stock he's put into. This is kind of that year where the big guy's got to step up and show something. Top before winning in the trenches. We need to see that 4-3 own that line of scrimmage for us, especially now that we have that one less linebacker behind him. Xavier McKinney was our big free agent signing. He needs to it sounds like he is, but we need to see him be that guy in the secondary to help us really lead the really young group of safeties around him. Javon Bullard, Evan Williams, Anthony Johnson Jr., Katana Oladapo. There's a bunch of young dudes he brought in. I want to see what he can do with them. Eric Stokes has got to stay healthy at corner. Carrington Valentine had a nice year last year. Keyshawn Nixon's been a good return guy. But to me, the questions are still defense. Until I see the defense actually show up and be what it's supposed to be, I'm going to still be a little skeptical if I'm being honest. And so that's where if I'm the Bears, the Lions, the Vikings, I'm looking at the Packers saying, until you show us you can play defense, I don't believe you. I think our offense is going to be fine. I think that Josh Jacobs is going to be a good signing for us. I think that Marshawn Lloyd was a really nice pickup in the draft for us.
Absolutely.
So I think overall, the QB2 competition for us this year is kind of fun to watch in camp, actually. I don't know if most people, if you're not a Packer fan, you won't be aware of this, but Sean Clifford, we drafted last year, had a nice preseason. Michael Pratt, we got late this year, and I think he fell and he shouldn't have. Very talented quarterback. We picked up Jacob Eason, who at one point was rumored to be a first-round quarterback, and only God would know why they'd say that. He never was that kind of talent, but he's not that good. But anyway, the point is Jacob Eason's in our quarterback room right now, giving the young guys some more competition. But fun competition there nonetheless. So A.J. Dillon still in our running back room, Manuel Wilson, and a few other young guys go around. So anyway, you mentioned Luke Musgrave. Tucker Kraft is another guy that I got my eye on. He came up big when Musgrave got hurt last year. But like I said, the Lions are a team to beat. I think, looking at the way the schedule breaks down for the Packers, I'm probably a little bit more bullish on our record, but that's just because of how the schedule lays out. But I think that really the swings for us on if we're going to break those above 10 wins or not comes down to those Bears and Lions games. The non-division games, they're going to be what they're going to be. But I think if the Packers can take care of business in the division, I think this is a 11, 12-win team. If we don't, we're a 9-win team. So that's kind of where I'm firing from. Aaron, what do you think?
Oh, can I go before Papa Bacon, our resident Packers homer, is going to go off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go, Pack!
There you go.
You're welcome. I was leading the Jordan Love bandwagon last year. You're welcome. I said Love would break out last year. The kid coming out of Utah, I believe it was Utah State, had a Brad's like, get the headphones away from me.
Is it safe?
All right, go ahead.
I was one of the leaders of the Jordan Love bandwagon last year. The kid has shown his ceiling. Was solid. Someone made a point, 7-8 games, growing pains. Yeah, it was his first season becoming a leader of a team that the team needed to gain this trust. He needed to get the trust and confidence himself. And towards the end, he did that. I don't know if I believe that this year. However, Love is worth, I want to say, prove it to be worth every penny you just got in a contract. Unfortunately, like the Jaguars, the Packers had no choice but to pay him because he sat behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 years before he actually got a shot. So you had to pay him, even though you had your 5th-year option. Musgrave is going to be a very underrated tight end. I think people are like, oh, Kraft, he's good. Yeah, Kraft was good coming out of San Diego State. South Dakota State.
There you go.
He was good coming out of there to begin with. But Musgrave, people forgot how good he was. Yeah, Kraft may be flashy. Musgrave is going to do everything you want and more. I'm big on Musgrave this year. I don't know what to do with your wide receiver core because you have no true wide receiver 1. You have a wide receiver 2 in Dobbs, a wide receiver 3 in Reed. And then you get Butterman, Bo Melton. You've got Christian Hamstring Watson. He should be the one.
Wicks, I'm telling you.
I was getting there. I've been drafting him everywhere in fantasy. He's getting a ridiculous amount of hype. I think this is the year someone in that wide receiver core, not named Dobbs or Reed, their jobs are secure. Someone needs to step up and be the alpha. But I am a big fan of what the Packers bring. I still think they finished second in the division behind the Lions. But man, if you're a Packers fan, you got to be so incredibly excited about the future of this team. Speaking of Lucas Van Ness, and I'm going to throw it to Aaron, I really wanted to see more out of him last year than we got. What are your thoughts on the Packers and then overall with Lucas Van Ness? Because I was a little disappointed from a fan perspective from him. He didn't really do much.
I was extremely disappointed from a fan perspective in terms of the overall defense. I mean, I guess I'm going to take a little bit different angle than what Ben said. They don't have to, like, I don't need them to show me that their defense is better because they don't have Joe Barry anymore. So that's already an upgrade. Okay. They got Halfley. I'm excited. I mean, yeah, I know that there's always an adjustment when you have, go from a different defensive styles, but I mean, just listening to some of the defensive players talk in training camp right now. And again, yes, I know it's training camp, but the kind of enthusiasm and excitement they all have, I think is going to show on the field. And I think it's going to lead to much, much better results on the field. I wish I had seen more of Lucas Van Ness last year. I'll be honest with you. I'm not as intellectual about the sport of football to know if that was because of the defensive scheme or they just weren't playing him enough, like what exactly the reason was. But I feel like I have faith that Halfley is going to put guys like Van Ness in the right positions to make plays this year and actually utilize their talent. I mean, all we heard all last season was Jair Alexander complain about, and I shouldn't say he didn't do it a lot in the media like some guys do, but you knew throughout the season that he was pissed off at how he was being utilized and that he wanted to be, and I mean, when your head coach has to go to you as a defensive coordinator and say, make this adjustment, especially because, LaFleur isn't a defensive specialist.
No, he's not.
Though, but he was right in that sense. That's
he was.
That's the sad part is that he's not a defensive specialist, but he was saying what all the fans were saying from like the first freaking game of the season, and so I'm pumped to see what Halfley can get out of these guys and actually put them in positions to utilize their talents. I would agree with Ben. I will take our wide receiving core any day. I mean, yes, I would love to see Watson get healthy and stay healthy all year. I would love to see maybe someone step up, but Jordan Love said it last year, and I would agree with it. I think sometimes there's benefit to not having some guy that's the number one guy. I mean, ask Josh Allen how he feels about having Stephon Diggs always whining and complaining that he wasn't getting the ball enough. I mean, look at all these number one guys who, you're happy they want the ball, but it's not like the quarterback's not trying to get you the ball. It just, I love the chemistry that these guys have. I also love the fact that they're all cheap right now, and with Jordan Love signing that massive contract, you're going to need these guys. I mean, you almost have to do something if you're going to get to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl. I feel like you almost have to do it in the next.
You have 2 years,
before these guys are all looking for big contracts. So I'll stop rambling now. I'm going to say 12-5. I could still see the Lions winning the division at, maybe like a 13-4, 14-3, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I could also see the Packers winning the division if the Lions, maybe they steal one from the Lions that they shouldn't. I see them splitting with the Lions this year. I could see them splitting with the Bears. And I hope to God they sweep the Queens. But I still think that it is the Lions division to lose, especially because they did upgrade through the draft. And as much as I'd love to say the Packers are going to go to the Super Bowl, being realistic, I could still see them taking one more year to Lions. So.
By the way, I'm going to throw this out there to your way, Adam. Van Ness only played a third of the defensive snaps last year.
Yeah, again, I don't understand what Vanessa's deal was. And I'll put it to you this way. Aaron talks about the Queens over here, but they have a guy in Brian Asamoah they have not freaking utilized since they have drafted this kid.
Well,
didn't utilize Jair last year. Didn't utilize Finesse last year. Even Cray Walker, who's not elite, he's just solid.
Yeah.
I really want to see something more.
Well,
a lot of these players being used better.
Yeah.
Here's the
and
thing.
I think you will.
So Lucas Van Ness he played all 17 games. He had 365 snaps. So he had roughly 21 snaps per game. The dude still had 4 sacks last year. As far as, again, we live in a fantasy world, so let's talk about fantasy for a second. He had 21.9 points per 100 snaps. If you're looking at IDP leagues in general for fantasy. Right now, I'd say you're projecting him to go a little bit. He should be higher in his snap count this year. Again, for a first-year guy playing that position, he should be closer to that probably 450, 500 snaps this year, I'm guessing. But you're looking at a guy who, again, he's going to keep getting better. He's going to keep developing within this defense. And now he's got a competent D coordinator that we shouldn't have to have our offensive head coach telling him how to take care of his defense. So all that said, I think we kind of all agreed here, if I heard this correctly, Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings, roughly for the order. With really the Bears-Packers game deciding who's 2 and 3. If I'm hearing the general consensus for the most part. Is that fair enough?
Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings, yes.
Yeah.
So, well, we're going to hit one more section here, going back to what we've been doing the last few weeks here. That's be 4 minutes on high, and I'm going to lead us off because I really want to this week. And it's because I get to call out my buddy Adam here right away and all my favorite mass holes of the world.
Hello.
We're going to kick some Massachusetts Pirate ass tomorrow in the Resch Center as the Green Bay Blizzard have the Eastern Conference Championship for the IFL here in Green Bay. You guys can try and do all of your little pirate swagger you want, but we're going to kick some butt and we're going to enjoy doing it. You guys can try and play what you want to play. I don't care. I'm here to watch it as you guys just get steamrolled and we go to Las Vegas to win our championship. Have fun laughing.
IFL.
Have fun sucking. Boston, you suck. Massachusetts, you suck. Find an actual politician that's not bought out already. All right, I'm done.
What's the IFL?
Boston does suck. Let's just get that straight.
Not my fault you guys drafted a potential bust of a
Brad, what do you got this week? What's got you burning?
Oh, that's all I had to say.
Okay. Here. Boston doesn't suck. Hot take from Brad. Adam, what do you got?
Happy Summer Slam weekend, everybody. WWE and the Triple H era is putting on an absolutely stacked freaking card this weekend. It is absolutely loaded. The first of the 2 mega summer shows in professional wrestling. SummerSlam this Saturday night, all in the end of August, Wembley Stadium. But Cleveland is going to be having a ton of fun. The card is absolutely stacked. I think I'm more excited for McIntyre Punk than I'm excited for the main event. That if Punk McIntyre should be the main event if it wasn't for one true tribal chief actually coming back and gonna, reassert himself. He's had enough couple months off, but I do think Roman Reigns finally makes his return with Jimmy Uso this weekend in the main event to screw over Solo and the Bloodline. But I do think, and this will be for the first time I'm saying this, I think from a top-down card perspective, we are in for a pure wrestling treat this Saturday night.
Couldn't agree more. And by the way, for those who are wrestling fans, join us next week, Tuesday, as we'll be bringing back If We Were Creative to break down all your SummerSlam enjoyment.
Yeet.
Have a bacon. Close us out. What's got you burned this week, buddy?
Nice. Well, I'm trying to think if anything really has me burning. Nothing really has me burning, but I will say I will use this opportunity to just give one more quick note about the, I love gaming. You guys all know this by now, and I know Adam is a big gamer. Brad does his stuff on Twitch, and I'm trying to get more gaming content for Daz with Bacon, and so with the new college football 25 coming out for EA Sports. Of course, I thought what better way to do it than have a Dads with Bacon league where we play once a week and that sort of thing. So if anyone is interested in joining a very laid back league, no one's going to rage quit on you. No one's going to, start swearing at you. At least I hope not. I mean, I kind of made it a point to tell everybody, if you want to be in this league, let's try to, keep the rage to a minimum. We still have about 14 spots left. I just checked before we came on here. I said we had 20 people sign up. It's actually 18, but still that's a great turnout. And we will be kicking the league off on Sunday. So if you're interested, I just need this is for PlayStation. We will get something set up for Xbox soon, but I don't have an Xbox Series X. So I have to find somebody who does, who wants to kind of help run it and that kind of thing. So this is for PlayStation. I just need your gamer tag and I need your top 5 teams that you want. There's still a bunch that are left. You can choose from any of the 134 that aren't already taken. So just let me know.
Sounds good. Thank you. And Brad, you're a good sport this week. I'll take us out with this. Thank you for joining us, guys, and have a great week.